Welcome to Middle-earth. Today we're exploring a collection of the most memorable moments from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So grab your Lembas bread and let's embark on this journey together. In the Fellowship of the Ring, Gandalf faces the fiery Balrog on the bridge of Khazad-dûm. With the iconic line, "You shall not pass," Gandalf sacrifices himself to save the Fellowship. This scene is a cinematic masterpiece, seamlessly blending practical effects and CGI, a technique that was groundbreaking in 2001.
You shall not pass!
Long time I fell, he said at last, slowly, as if thinking back with difficulty. Long I fell and he fell with me. His fire was about me. I was burned. Then we plunged into the deep water and all was dark. Cold it was as the tide of death. Almost it froze my heart. We fought far under the living earth where time is not counted. Ever he clutched me and ever I hewed him, till at last he fled into dark tunnels. They were not made by Durin's folk, Gimli son of Glóin. Far, far below the deepest delvings of the dwarves, the world is gnawed by nameless things. Even Sauron knows them not. They are older than he. Now I have walked there, but I will bring no report to darken the light of day. In that despair, my enemy was my only hope, and I pursued him, clutching at his heel. Flight to the Ford next. Arwen's race to Rivendell with a wounded Frodo showcases her bravery and introduces the power of the elves.
Frodo, Im Arwen Telin Lethaid, Lastobeth Nin Tolodan Nongalad.
Did you know that in the book, it's actually Glorfindel, not Arwen, who aids Frodo? Glorfindel was tall and straight. His hair was of shining gold, his face fair and young and fearless and full of joy. His eyes were bright and keen, and his voice like music. On his brow sat wisdom, and in his hand was strength.
Your friends are with you, Aragorn.
Next we have the Battle of Helm's Deep. The Two Towers features this intense nighttime battle, a technical marvel that required months of night shoots and the creation of the Uruk-hai army. It's a testament to the resilience of the people of Rohan and the strategic genius of Tolkien's writing. In The Return of the King, Sam's loyalty shines as he carries Frodo up Mount Doom. This moment underscores the theme of friendship and the strength found in the most unlikely heroes. As Frodo clung upon his back, arms loosely about his neck, legs clasped firmly under his arms, Sam staggered to his feet, and then to his amazement, he felt the burden light. He had feared that he would have barely strength to lift his master alone, and beyond that he had expected to share in the dreadful dragging weight of the accursed ring. But it was not so. Whether because Frodo was so worn by his long pains, wound of knife and venomous sting, and sorrow, fear, and homeless wandering, or because some gift of final strength was given to him, Sam lifted Frodo with no more difficulty than if he were carrying a hobbit child pickerback in some romp on the lawns or hayfields of the Shire. He took a deep breath and started off. Now we have the lighting of the beacons, a visually stunning sequence that demonstrates the unity of the kingdoms of men. These scenes were a mixture of CGI and real locations, such as Mount Gun near Franz Josef on the west coast of New Zealand, creating a breathtaking montage across Middle-earth. For answer, Gandalf cried aloud to his horse. On Shadowfax, we must hasten, time is short. See, the beacons of Gondor are alight, calling for aid. War is kindled. See, there is the fire on Aemon Din and flame on Eilenach. And there they go, speeding west. Nardol, Erelas, Min Rimmon, Calenhad, and the Halifirian on the borders of Rohan. Of course, there is Aragorn's coronation. The crowning of Aragorn represents the fulfillment of prophecy and the restoration of the line of kings. Viggo Mortensen's portrayal brought depth to a character that has become iconic in both literature and film. But when Aragorn arose, all that beheld him gazed in silence, for it seemed to them that he was revealed to them now for the first time. Tall as the sea kings of old, he stood above all that were near.
Now come the days of the king.
And wisdom sat upon his brow, and strength and healing were in his hands, and a light was about him. The destruction of the One Ring. The climax of the trilogy, where the ring is finally destroyed, is a pivotal moment in both the films and the books. Frodo gave a cry, and there he was, fallen upon his knees at the chasm's edge, and Gollum, dancing like a mad thing, held aloft the ring, a finger still thrust within its circle. It shone now as if verily it was wrought of living fire. Precious, 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 Gollum cried. My precious, all mine precious. And with that, even as his eyes were lifted up to gloat on his prize, he stepped too far, toppled, wavered for a moment on the brink, and then, with a shriek, he fell. Out of the depths came his last wail, precious, and he was gone. The Charge of the Rohirrim. King Theoden's rousing speech and the subsequent charge is one of the most exhilarating sequences in cinematic history. It's a moment that captures the essence of courage and hope in the face of overwhelming odds.
Do you not know death when you see it, old man? This is my power.
Suddenly the king cried to Snowmane, and the horse sprang away. Behind him his banner blew in the wind, white horse upon a field of green, but he outpaced it. After him thundered the knights of his house, but he was ever before them. Eomer rode there, the white horsetail on his helm floating in his speed, and the front of the first Eord roared like a breaker foaming to the shore, but Theoden could not be overtaken. Fey he seemed, or the battle fury of his fathers, ran like new fire in his veins, and he was borne up on Snowmane like a god of old, even as Orome the Great in the battle of the Valar, when the world was young. His golden shield was uncovered, and lo, it shone like an image of the sun, and the grass flamed into green about the white feet of his steed. For morning came, morning and a wind from the sea, and the darkness was removed, and the hosts of Mordor wailed, and terror took them, and they fled and died, and the hoofs of wrath rode over them. We cannot forget Frodo's farewell. His departure to the Undying Lands is a bittersweet ending to his journey. It signifies the heavy toll the quest has taken and the peace he finds in leaving. Then Frodo kissed Merry and Pippin, and last of all Sam, and went aboard. And the sails were drawn up, and the wind blew, and slowly the ship slipped away down the long grey firth. And the ship went out into the high sea on into the west, until at last on a night of rain, Frodo smelled a sweet fragrance on the air, and heard the sound of singing that came over the water. And then it seemed to him, as in his dream in the house of Bombadil, the grey rain curtain turned all to silver glass and was rolled back, and he beheld white shores, and beyond them a far green country under a swift sunrise. But to Sam, the evening deepened to darkness as he stood at the haven, and as he looked at the grey sea, he saw only a shadow on the waters that was soon lost in the west. There still, he stood far into the night, hearing only the sigh and murmur of the waves on the shores of Middle-earth, and the sound of them sank deep into his heart. Beside him stood Merry and Pippin, and they were silent. And now we find ourselves at the Fellowship's reunion. This reunion after the fall of Sauron is a heartwarming conclusion to an epic saga. It's a celebration of victory and a testament to the enduring bonds formed on their journey. When Sam awoke, he found himself on a soft bed in Ithilien, the eastern lands of Gondor. He first commented on the extraordinary dream he had just had, and then cried out in astonishment that his dream actually happened. Frodo slept next to Sam, and Gandalf watched over the two of them. The wizard said that a great shadow had departed, asked the hobbits to dress in their worn and ragged attire, and escorted them out of the wood. They were to attend a reception hosted by the King of Gondor. These moments are not just highlights of a series of books or films. They are timeless reminders of the power of storytelling. Tolkien's rich lore and Jackson's visionary direction have created a legacy that continues to inspire to this day. Thank you for joining us on this adventure through The Lord of the Rings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Middle-earth content. Until next time, may your swords be sharp and your hearts be brave.